everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Erika and today we are going to be discussing fall 2022 trends. I did one of these last year, so it'll be really interesting to see how things have changed. I'm also definitely going to be talking about like trends that I really love this season. These are by no means like completely new trends. I've also seen a lot of commentary online about how like everything is trendy at the moment, which I think is a really interesting concept, and I might be making a video about that soon. If you do find this video helpful or you enjoy, please drop it a like, comment, and subscribe, and let's jump straight in. So I'm gonna break this video down into a couple of different sections. So I'm gonna talk about the aesthetics that I think are gonna be really popular, the color palettes, and then also like specific items or like things that you might want to dig out of your wardrobe for this season. I think that this makes it like a little bit easier to process, and also a lot of these things kind of connect like in that flow of events. So that's how I'm going to be breaking it down. Starting off with aesthetics, I think that the biggest thing is going to be grunge. Now that's something that I've been seeing a lot of, and I think it can be like fragmented into a whole bunch of different subcategories of grunge. I think that streetwear grunge is going to be really popular. I think a lot of the people who loved the subversive trends of last year have kind of moved down this line of this like streetwear grunge, if you want to call it that, and I feel like the brands like Diesel have really like owned this space. Think like heavy silver, large like metal work on clothing, like moto jackets, and like distressed leather, like heavy on the distressed leather. I feel like I've seen a lot of like almost like discolored jeans, like almost like they have grass stains on them, and I feel like this kind of aesthetic, I feel like it doesn't really have too much of a name yet, or maybe I'm just totally unaware of it, but I feel like that aesthetic is becoming really, really popular. Within that aesthetic, you see a lot of like brown, gray, greens, some blues, and I feel like it's really tied together with the silver that gives it that futuristic, almost streetwear look. I think that like the Balenciaga sunglasses, which have been like knocked off by Amazon, kind of were like a big kind of entry point to that trend for a lot of people too, and I can see that continuing to be really popular in fall, especially with like the heavy leather pieces that lend itself well to that aesthetic. The second type of grunge that I think you've probably heard is coming back is going to be the soft grunge. I see a lot of people calling it indie sleaze. I think that that term was coined by Old Loser in Brooklyn. I love her videos, and I think she was throwing around that term on TikTok, and I see it has just exploded from there. But when I think of that look, I think of soft grunge Tumblr era, like 2014, and I definitely had a blog that was like dedicated to this. So I feel like I still own a lot of the pieces. Think black turtlenecks, think of like that one photo, that look almost I feel like is coming back. I posted a video last year when I saw the original video talking that it was going to come back, and even got like put in a Mina Lee video, which was super, super cool. I got that sent to me by a couple friends and I was so stoked. So when I saw her video essay on it, I was really excited to see that it was coming back. And I think that's something that lends itself really well with that look, is most of it is comprised of pieces that most people would identify as being timeless. When I think of it, I think of black turtlenecks, I think of really simple prints, I think of plaid, I think of Doc Martens, I think of a very neutral color palette with maybe some pops of dark green and like red, and that's pretty much it. And I feel like that look kind of has remained timeless for a lot of the people who were maybe a part of that sub niche of people, so it hasn't really gone away. A lot of people still dress like that, and I just think that it's going to become more popular with maybe the people who forgot their past, I guess. So I think that it's gonna bring itself back. The last grunge aesthetic I think is kind of like the messy girl aesthetic. I saw this thrown around a lot on TikTok, whereas last fall I think a lot of people were looking at Blair Waldorf. I think a lot of people this fall are looking at Serena, and I think that that's more of like a slouchy, less put together, effortless sort of vibe. I think that people are almost going like for a lazy girl fall look, which I think is really great because it's low maintenance. And I think that a lot of the pieces that you kind of wore last year or in previous seasons can kind of just be styled a little bit more loosely, and maybe with like some old things from your closet as well. Keeping down the line of more preppier styles, I think that preppy styles kind of always do exist, and I think that the type of preppy style that will be really, really popular this fall will be like almost like an equestrian sort of look. I think that 90s is still really, really popular. I know with some recent events, a lot of people have been talking about Princess Diana again, so I have been seeing a lot of style inspiration being thrown around there, and her style is obviously timeless. I think that that's a great thing to have in your wardrobe always, is those like neutral knits, well-tailored trousers, beautiful blazers. I mean, that stuff you're gonna be able to use for years. If you make purchases for this aesthetic, which typically I would say try not to do that, a lot of this stuff you'll be able to buy vintage because it is reminiscent of a past style. Now moving to colors, and this is absolutely not a revolutionary statement. I do think that brown's gonna be super popular this fall, but in a very like cozy way. I feel like brown was like the color of fall 2020 with like the brown North Faces, and then I remember like the brown Gap sweatshirts, and like the resale value of those things on Depop at the time were just literally insane. I remember wanting one and then logging on and being like horrified. But I do think that brown's gonna be super popular. I think a lot of like brown leather is gonna be popular. Once again, not revolutionary, but something that I think is going to look really great with like a lot of messenger bags and that sort of look. Coach's new collection with the messenger bags was so beautiful, and I do think that that's going to resonate because it is a very practical trend, so I think that that color palette's going to be really, really popular. And another thing that they had on their runway, which was little pops of red. Little pops of red is like my favorite trend of fall. I am wearing it right now. Now this is definitely my favorite color trend of 2022, I think. I think that this is the one that like I've noticed I've just like subconsciously picked up. And I was lucky enough to go to New York Fashion Week this year, and I didn't want to buy too much stuff for it, but having just moved, I didn't really have the biggest closet to choose from, and I did want to invest in one thing, and I'm happy I did. I did buy this bag here. This is a Louis Vuitton Pochette Accessories, and it is in wonderful condition. It does have a small split on this little strap here, but this was, I think it was $250 or $300, and I know it's a lot for a bag, but this is a vintage purchase, and I have worn this relentlessly since I got it. It fits a good amount of stuff. They do have other ones similar to this. It's in the epi leather, so it's quite durable. And yeah, I think that this looks so cute, styled with things. Just a little pop of red, I think adds that like little bit of like something else. It's just like more than your standard black bag. I really, really love mine. You do not need to get a Louis Vuitton one, but there's so many cool ones on The Real. This is not sponsored, but they have a lot of really cool ones because I think it's like, once again, kind of a 90s style. So it's something that you can look secondhand, you can look vintage. There's of course new ones, but I think that there's some really, really cool and unique options out there for you if you are to shop secondhand. You will definitely be seeing it from me. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to go check out my Instagram because I've already posted stuff with it. Now with the pops of red, I do think that the whole spectrum of reds is gonna be really, really popular this fall. I do think that like dark red, especially that rich sort of look, very 90s again, I think is going to be super popular. I think that it's so beautiful, and I also do think that it lends itself to the aesthetics that are trending. Now I think we've seen green as like a trendy color for a really long time, and my favorite color is definitely green, but I think this season we're gonna see a lot of like two types of green, and I think that's gonna be olive green and dark green, almost like a Jersey green. I think I said Jersey green last fall, but I think it's gonna be a little bit darker than that. I think that it's almost like, I think I said varsity green is what I said, or varsity green. I'm gonna fact check myself. I think that this color is really, really beautiful. I think that there's just like a lot of, I feel like it's good in casual settings as well. I feel like you can get a lot of like sweatsuits and like t-shirts and stuff like that in that color. I think that olive is just becoming really trendy as well. I don't know, I've been seeing like a lot of like olive motifs on things, and I think that it's going to be like a trendy tone. I think it also lends itself well to colored leathers. I've seen a couple of like olive toned leather, I think it was some boots, and they were really, really pretty. So I think that that's going to definitely be a popular trend this fall as well. Now the last color, I don't know if I'm excited about it, but is silver. Now I have pretty much always said I only wear gold. I do pretty much only wear gold. I only have gold jewelry, and then this fashion week I decided I've been seeing silver everywhere, and I really do like it when styled, and so I pulled the trigger on like a very like almost risky purchase. I bought these like completely silver pants, and I have dubbed these my Tin Man pants, which is probably how I'll style them like for Halloween, but like They're just like completely silver, and I do think that this is influenced by like the diesel trend and like that streetwear grunge that I was kind of talking about. I think that that's definitely what's influenced this. I still don't think that silver suits my skin tone as well. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one of the color analysis people can tell me. But I feel like it washes me out a little bit. I think that, you know, wear whatever you feel confident in. I just see silver like everywhere at the moment, and I do really like it. Like, I've definitely been a gold girl through and through for a really long time, and while I don't think I'll be like investing in too much silver jewelry anytime soon, I can definitely appreciate the like clothing trends that are coming around because I think it's really unique. One thing that really solidified this to me, which was slightly after I bought my pants, was at Vogue World there was just countless celebrities in this like silver clothing, and I think that it's just gonna continue to become popular. I don't think that silver clothing is like a very practical wearable trend, but I do think that like when you're going out and having events, I think that that's where it's gonna really shine, which is a really, really bad pun. I'm really sorry. Moving to specific items, and just gonna preface this because I think that it's important to say, if these aren't things that you like, just because you see someone else wearing them doesn't mean that it's something that you need in your wardrobe for fall. You can still look trendy and put together and wonderful by not having these specific things. So try to like go over this with a fine-tooth comb. What are things that I'm gonna wear like in a couple years time? What are things that I think are really gonna serve my practical, realistic wardrobe and lifestyle? I think that that's definitely a mistake I've made with like purchases in the past. Maybe with those pants, we will see how much wear they get, but like things that you will actually wear in your life. Starting off with like clothing pieces, I think one thing that's gonna be really popular that I love is striped sweaters. Now, this is definitely a trend that you probably already have in your wardrobe. I just think that they look really, really pretty. I really like the style when they're like, it's like a striped sweater and like a pair of trousers. I think that it's a really like almost nautical sort of style, I would say. I really, really like it. I do have a striped sweater myself, and I've been styling it a lot, whether it's draped over the shoulders or even as is. I really love mine. Distressed clothing. Now, I did very briefly touch on this when I was talking about the streetwear grunge that I see is becoming really popular. And when I say distressed, I don't mean like what I think we've kind of seen with distressing before, which is like ripped jeans over the knees. That's not what I mean here. I do think like of discoloration and like almost like tattering, but not like intentional rip. Things that do genuinely look old. So whether it's like discolored leather, like I was saying, the jeans with like the green, almost grass stain looking patches. I have seen jeans where they almost look so washed out and like brown and dirty. And that's, I think, literally the entire intention is that they look dirty. And I do think that this is like a bit of a weird trend because it's usually worn with like extremely expensive stuff. I just think it's a little bit like ironic, which may be the point of it, I don't know, but I have seen that a lot, and I think that if you are to like style that with a piece that maybe is a little bit more elevated, it will help balance it out too. One trend that I love, and I wore pretty much all through summer as well, was long skirts. And I think we're gonna see a lot of long skirts with boots. And ooh, the lighting just very much so changed. I think we're gonna see them in every single texture. I also think that I said this last year. I think we're going to see them especially in denim. I really love the like, they're not schoolgirl skirts, but they are like what I wore in school almost, which is like not like when you think of like schoolgirl skirt, which is like the mini like costumey one. I mean like things that people almost literally would have worn in a uniform. Those like long pleated, almost kilt-like skirts, I think are super popular. I really love them. I picked up one on the Real Real as well. This sounds like a Real Real ad. It's not. I just have a problem with shopping there. This is the one that I got. I was like on the hunt for like a Burberry skirt. I wanted like almost like the Lily Rose Depp one, but like there was not very many available, and if they were available, they were like crazy, crazy expensive. But I have also loved this trend, so I ended up picking up this long pleated skirt, and it is a Burberry skirt. I did go for a high-waisted option. I think that these look really great low-waisted as well. I just found that the high-waisted kind of fit my own personal style and what I'm comfortable with, and yeah, I've been really loving this trend. I think that it's gonna look really great with like boots as well, and having the long skirt like meet up with the boots I think is really pretty. I also think it's very 90s, and then I also think just like regular satin midi skirts are going to continue to be really popular paired with sweaters. I think that that's a really pretty put together look, and once again with the boots, I think just ties it all together really well. Also, the skirt that I got, even though it's Burberry, you don't need a Burberry one, I think that they just have a really good like backlog of that design, and I did find that one. I think it was for $60, so you know, most places new. I think the Aritzia ones are like around that price, if not a little bit more as well. So if you can find one that's really unique and secondhand, I would try to recommend looking there first. I would say the exact same when it comes to like the denim midi skirt situation. That's definitely something you can thrift, and I feel like it's going to be better thrifted. I feel like a lot of retailers are going to try to modernize it in the way that's like not what makes it cool almost, if you know what I'm saying. But like, I think that the denim midi skirts, the plaid midi skirts, and also just like the silk midi skirt season is here. I think that's gonna continue to be super popular. Now for maybe one of the most controversial trends of fall 2022, which is the ballet flats. Now, I think that a lot of the same discourse around ballet flats has been happening that did with low-waisted jeans. Now there's obviously the nuance with low-waisted jeans that they are typically only popular when a certain body type is wearing them. And I obviously don't think that that is the case when it comes to ballet flats. In saying that though, I do think that the reason they've become repopularized is because stuff like ballet core is shooting to popularity, and that very much so does perpetuate the idolization of one particular body type. And that's a totally separate video, totally separate issue, but I do think that that's maybe why they're rising in popularity a little bit. I definitely love the look of these shoes when they are worn styled well. I just don't think that they're something that I'm gonna get much use out of, so I'm going to try to refrain from buying them. I can definitely see some of the outfits in my wardrobe looking great with them, but if it's something that you know that you're just not going to get that much use out of, maybe give this one a skip. Once again, there's a lot of really amazing options secondhand, especially with the designer ones, which I feel like are the ones that are super popular. I think that brands like Chanel, Repetto, and then also Miu Miu, of course, are dominating this space, and I think that they all cater to different sections of the market. I think that Miu Miu is maybe a little bit more alternative. I've seen so many different people wearing the Miu Miu ones, and I think that the people who I've seen gravitate towards those have very unique senses of personal style. And whereas I think that the Chanel ones are maybe people who have what is deemed a more classic type of style, and same goes for the Repettos. I do think that the girls who like the Repettos tend to really love Pinterest, and I think that I can lump myself into that category as well. I think that there's definitely a lot of different options out there for you. If you do think that this is a trend that you're gonna reach for season after season, I would say that it's worth investing. I mean, it's fairly practical, and I do think that there is kind of something out there for everyone if it is something that you like. Another shoe trend that I think is going to continue to be really popular are Sambas. So the Adidas or Adidas, I don't know, however you want to pronounce it, you can pronounce it however you want. But Sambas I feel like are just super popular, and I really like this trend because it really hasn't been a black sneaker that's been popular in a while. I feel like all of the sneakers I've bought recently have been white for the most part. My Reebok Club C's, Dunks are predominantly white, Air Force Ones before that I feel like were predominantly white, same with the New Balance 550s. All of those sneaker trends have been light. So it's really great to kind of ground your outfits with a darker sneaker. If you don't like the kind of low-rise docks, I feel like the Sambas are maybe a more like sporty option for you. I really like mine. I am still trying to break them in. I'm surprised that I've had to break them in because I never have to break in sneakers. If you do have a smaller foot, you can opt for the like grade school sizing, and I would recommend doing this because they are like literally half the price. So a little hack if you are able to go down that route. One practical accessories trend that I'm excited for is scarves. Now I've seen a lot of people being like, thin scarves are gonna be in, no, thick scarves are gonna be in, no, thick scarves aren't gonna be in, because last year thick scarves were in. I just think that scarves are gonna be popular. I just think across the board there's gonna be a lot of different styles of them. I think that the acne ones have been really popular for a couple of seasons. I've seen some beautiful colorways that they released, and I'm very tempted. Having just moved to a cold climate, I do need to pick up some sort of scarf, some sort of hat for when the cold weather comes, and I do really love the acne ones. I've also always loved the Burberry scarves with their classic print. I know there's a lot of vintage options there. And then when it comes to the skinny scarves, honestly, you can just use like a piece of fabric. I saw a girl on TikTok, she made a video like, why did you buy a 99-cent piece of fabric? And she had styled it in like 10 different ways. And it was like, she styled it as the thin scarf, and it's a very accessible trend, I feel like. So even if you like wanted to cut up something that you already had, I feel like you could almost make this trend if you wanted to. I really love how they get styled across the board. I think the one scarf trend that hasn't come back yet is the infinity scarves, but with like low rise and ballet flats, maybe infinity scarves will be next, who knows. And last but not least, I did touch on this before, but I do think that the little red bag is going to be super popular. I've seen a lot of different outfits styled with this, and myself included, I have loved this trend. I do think that it's like something that you can just add on to everything that you already have, and it just adds a cute little pop of color and makes it a little bit trendy, which I think is really cool. So those are all of the fall 2022 trends that I have been loving. I hope that you found this video helpful or it sparked a little bit of inspiration. If you did enjoy, please leave it a like and comment, and be sure to subscribe because I will definitely be uploading some new like fall fashion content soon, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!